Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another Wolfram language design review, part of our language completeness and consistency series, and we got several things to talk about.
Right.
Should we change the default options of ArrayPlot?
Right. So this is something that happens when you have ragged arrays or none, right? So the default for background when you have none or a ragged array is transparent, and then which in light mode is indistinguishable from, you know, the whites used by, I forget if that's zero or one, but uh,
It's zero.
yeah, and um, right. So then when you go to dark mode, then you have, white and black, and then the not quite black of the background. So that really doesn't look good.
Okay, so hold on. Color rules. Is there a name for the background color? See, we could have a weird thing, maybe, where in color rules you say, uh, zero goes to white, one goes to black, background goes to gray or something.
Right. Well, there is, I mean, there's a background option. So
No,
what?
I know that, but okay. But then the default is that this is transparent and that you're falling through to the background rather than that you specify that in the color rules, correct?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure what
I
you
think
had
that's correct,
you
yes.
had too many and there was a missing antecedent there. So say it again.
I'm saying, okay, the issue is
Color rules does not currently affect the background. You can have a
indeed
blank there and it will not affect the
right,
background.
but
You
by
can
default, the what shows through, if there is not a data point there, what ArrayPlot puts there is transparent.
correct.
Yes.
The default, really what this is, um, missing data default, I'm not a good name, is transparent, right?
Right. Or you could just say background goes to transparent, which is the option that currently exists and which you can set to if you want to make it white
Yeah, I
as
get it. I wonder how the padding and stuff works um with when you're dealing with background. Because I mean to me there's a different thing of there is a slot here for that array element, but the array element is not there.
I see. So right. So you're saying right. So if you scroll down so we can actually see the example where we say the background. Um, right. So you're saying you would still want to see a black border there, right? Oh, if this missing guy is white, you would still want to see a black border like you do in the plot above it in dark mode. Um,
That's correct.
I see. Um, right.
Sorry, I'm
Well,
not
I mean, I
following. What
don't.
was that?
Right. The point. I think the point Stephen's making is that he would want something where, all those actual squares, which are currently transparent, are this color, but the bevel, as it were, remained transparent if you kept background goes to automatic, I believe is the default.
Right. So,
Right, but I
right.
don't think we can make that in a backward compatible way. I suppose we could invent a new option that does this, but right, I don't
Well,
think
I
we
mean,
can
but the
change
but
color
the
rules.
bevel isn't, like the bevel meaning like including the stuff that's to the left of the left edge of the array, right?
Right. So I'm
I
well,
mean, and
what I'm
that
calling
that
the
that
what I'm
there's
calling the
nothing there. That's just plot range padding beyond the raster.
right. But the point, what I understand Stephen to be saying is that he would want some way to say make the missing data be, red, And so we'd see a bunch of red in addition to the green and in addition to the blue and yellow. But then we would also see a black bevel in dark mode or a white bevel in light mode because we would not be changing the background. We would be
That's correct.
changing the
That's what I'm
actual
saying.
color.
Right.
And I think this would require a new option because,
Or an extension to color rules or oh,
except that, but then that you would be changing the meaning of blank goes to something, right? So it would be a backward
well,
right? Blank would be everything except missing the data, right? That would be a slightly weird blank.
Is the plot more unusable in dark mode? I mean, in both modes, the background is kind of mixing with the data. It's just which.
Well, yeah, I would argue because you can actually see the two values clearly in light mode, whereas you cannot see them. Right. So if right, the sort of my other suggestion is we change the default, for going from white and black to, two things which are clearly distinguishable from the default backgrounds.
I was
Um,
gonna say somewhat related to this is that ArrayPlot has this, I don't know, maroonish color that it uses for non-numeric things by default.
oh, I'd forgotten about that.
And I wonder if there's a relationship between that and how we fill in potentially, these
Right. So if we do like
nothing was there to start
How,
with.
how do you set the maroon color? How do you re-specify a new maroon?
I don't
right,
see an option for it. I thought there was one, but I don't see it in the docs.
right. So if we do array plot of, list 1A, list 2, yeah, sorry, list and then a list 1A, um, and then comma list 2 and the or none, just so we have all four colors. Oh, sorry, I apparently forgot to reset the kernel. I was testing something and forgot to reset the kernel.
Okay, that's what we have.
Yep. Right. So,
Why is the one in? Oh, I see. I see. It did an auto scaling.
correct.
Okay, so we've got this error color. We've got the missing data color.
Or
Again,
lack thereof.
the lack of missing data. Right, the data is truly missing.
Right.
The data is structurally missing.
Right. I was just claiming that there is no color there, given that it's completely transparent. But
I see.
right, if you did that inside of a dark mode pane, right, we would see just the black rectangle on the second row.
Okay, what are we trying to solve here? We're trying to go ahead.
What we're trying to solve is the fact that when you have ragged data or nuns, then with the default options, the um, the styling only works it only works reasonably well with the default style with the default theme in light mode, right? If you go to dark mode, you really can't see the plot. If you use if you right now that we have notebook themes coming, if you go to a theme where the background is very dark by default, and so you know if we also want to talk about the fact that we apparently don't have a way to change the missing or the invalid data color, I suppose we could fold that in.
Yeah, so my suggestion is in light mode, it's pure transparent. the background. In dark mode, I suggest that it isn't pure transparent. For example, let's say that it had a certain
Well,
light gray.
I mean, that's not a great solution because uh well, I suppose we could make it light dark okay, John, you're here. Can we have a light dark switched which is transparent in one mode and not transparent in the other? I guess that
Not. I don't remember if that's supported now. In principle, we could, but that may not be available currently.
right. Um
This is
right.
not for this version anyway.
Right. The point is, right, you know, for example, the use case where this particular thing came up is documentation, right? Where we change where we generate the plots in light mode, but we want it to be usable by users who are using dark mode or a non-default theme. Well, I don't know if theming actually affects the documentation or just user notebooks. John?
Sorry, I was down the light dark switch rabbit hole and I didn't catch what you said.
If you change your theme, does that affect documentation also, or does it just
No,
affect?
no,
No, okay, that only affects user notebooks.
right.
Are you guys like if you switched white with black, isn't the white one going to be the one that looks worse? Anyway, I don't know.
No,
No, I mean it's not switching the colors of the data that is there.
Yeah, but just I'm not sure I see how the black being the same color as the background is any worse than the white being the same color as the other background. I don't
Okay,
know.
what do we think of this, guys? I don't think that's obviously terrible. Making sense here?
I mean, it's certainly okay in the case where you just have black and white. Right. If you have other shades of gray because you have,
Okay, listen,
values from 0 to
listen. It's
5
like
or something.
quoting the quote. Okay, there's
Yeah.
there's never going to be a color that you never have. You see what I'm saying? That you could never have.
but no. I mean, you can have all sorts of grays by default, right? I mean, yes, you can. If you right, if the user specifies color rules, then they're on their own. The question we're talking about sort of defaults, right? And the defaults are if you have more than just 0 and 1, then you're going to have lots of grays.
Could I
Unless we
make
change.
cross-hatching? Could I make cross-hatching here? How would I make cross-hatching? Or stippling? How could I make a stippled background? John Bolts.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh, okay. I will give you an approach.
Half-tone shading.
Okay. We're gonna use Prologue.
And just put code in chat, please.
Okay. I'll. Take
Look,
me a
that much
moment.
lighter gray looks pretty reasonable. If we simply had it be the case that in dark mode, missing, data that isn't there, I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know if that's a good idea. Look, black on black is pretty stupid. So maybe in dark mode, we should be changing the default colors of array plots. Am I making sense?
Maybe.
Right. So, okay. So you're suggesting that so basically you're suggesting that the default colors be light dark switched so that uh when you go into dark mode you see different colors. That's
Yes, that's what I'm suggesting.
I put an snippet of code in chat. Replace the background with it.
Just a thought, but could you also just make the background white and then make the white be light gray, like shift everything? Um,
That's actually quite lovely. I mean, not quite graphically designed right, but that's really a great effect. I mean, that's what people, not for this area here, but for the area where there's missing data, that would be a really nice effect. Unless you don't want it. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But the default, having that as a default will be a nice effect. I mean, look, I have to say, I'm sure there's graphics I've made that depend on the fact that at least in light mode, that data absent is white.
Mm-hmm. Right. You're doing an implicit pad with 0, basically.
That's right. The thing Eric was suggesting of moving the white slightly to gray, I don't understand how that helps us, because the problem is that we've got black on black. I mean, if we move the black to slightly gray, that makes sense.
or
In other
yeah,
words, if what we're doing is,
well well, yeah.
okay, let's try this.
you can also do like plot range goes from -1 or negative
Let's not do it that way. Let's just do,
You need to close the dark mode pane.
okay, that's not adequate. And what happens if we go there? I mean, that doesn't seem completely hopeless given what we're trying to do. That we light dark switched the default black white, because black white, we don't want to flip unless are we flipping the colors here?
We are not right now. We decided.
I don't think we should flip the colors. I think it's like our ordinary plots where you want to say it's the red curve, it's the green curve,
Mm-hmm.
it's the black curve, it's the white curve. You know, if
Right.
somebody said it's the black dot here, you'd have a fighting chance of guessing what the dot is.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is our best bet, is to pull them away from straight black. Does that make sense to people?
Well, right. I mean that right. You're really narrowing then the range of available color of hues. So if you have more than two values, I don't know how well that'll work.
Look,
But
this is a corner case. It's a difficult corner case, right? You've got, I mean, the only question is, do we want to mess up, things which are full array plots? Okay, let's think this through a little bit. The most common case is a full array plot, in which case we're just showing, the only thing that's weird is that the background then is a black background. In this case, it's kind of obvious, it's, for example, if I include mesh here, it's clear what's going on. Like if I say here, this better work correctly. Mesh arrow automatic. Yeah, okay. So we see the mesh
Well,
where we should see the mesh, but we don't see the mesh extending into the dead area. Making sense?
well, I can't even see the mesh over Zoom. So
Yeah, the zoom is washing it out. I can kind of see it on the black, but
now I can see it.
Look, you know what? We shouldn't mess with the black and white here. What we should mess with is the background color. And on a black background, rather than having an array plot just melt into the background as it does on white, why don't we give it, as we were doing somewhere here, a why don't we give it a background color? Am I making sense? I think that's what we should do.
Okay.
okay.
I mean, and this wants to be, let's say that's a light gray. That is completely reasonable as far as I'm concerned. That doesn't look like any kind of bug, looks completely reasonable to me. And having that be something where there is a little rim, a rind here that's a slightly different color seems reasonable. Now, we should try to pick, I don't know whether we do a pure gray. If we've got pure gray for the main colors here, we might want to try and pick something which is a slightly bluer gray or something like that. So it's just not completely
So it's always different from something.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Okay, moving on. Oh my gosh, the skeleton in the closet.
Right. Well, I don't want you to think that this is a small project. Uh,
Can I explain what I have in mind? Because I think maybe you don't understand what I'm suggesting.
I think you have no appreciation of how incredibly difficult it will
Okay,
be to
let's just
change
talk
this.
about what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pure visual appearance.
And we can't change the pure visual appearance without a lot of work.
Okay, explain why.
Because the way short works is by, counting skeletons via their box structure in ways that nobody, with the possible exception of Tom, and right, it's been 32 years since he wrote this code, understands. Um, and so when we tried just changing the appearance, short was broken. So we would need to
Do we
completely
understand
rewrite
why?
short.
I mean, so that thing is a skeleton marker, right?
Uh-huh.
This work. I'm sorry, I was just trying to. How do I get the input? Wait a minute. Command Shift E is broken here. Oh no, it doesn't. Here we go. That's a left skeleton, right skeleton.
Yep.
Okay. Now, all I'm suggesting is, can we change
yeah,
the graphic design of left skeleton and right skeleton? That's all I'm asking.
Oh,
To
no
like what,
fancy,
for example?
no fancy, no fancy, uh, interactivity.
Well, I'd love to have that, but
But yeah, well, if we're yes, well, that requires changing the boxes, which will require, loads of work. If we're just talking about changing the appearance of left skeleton and right skeleton,
so I just want to understand the box. Okay. First point is the most minimal thing is change the graphic design. Okay, to not have things that are just characters,
well, then no. Then you've just changed. Then you've just changed the boxes, and therefore you've not
No,
just
I'm
changed the
talking
graphic
about
design.
changing the glyph and the appearance of the glyph. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay, well,
Take
you
the
said
left
that they're
skeleton
not
glyph.
characters, which doesn't sound like changing the glyph.
They look like typable characters. They
I
should
see.
not look like typable characters. They should look more like emoji than typable characters.
Okay.
Now, I mean, let's understand what we would like in a perfect world And then let's understand what we can do. Okay?
Okay.
In a perfect world, okay. Oops. Okay. That 977, we'd love to change the font of that 977, for example. We'd love to make that a smaller font or something. We'd love to just change slightly the appearance of this. Not something fancy and interactive. That will be even nicer, but just change the appearance a bit. Why? Why is that so hard?
Because because short works by counting the skeletons and the numbers inside the skeletons. So we can't, so short of rewriting short,
Okay,
you
so you're
know,
saying recursively, sort is looking at what's there to find out how long the thing is to decide what to shorten further. Is that correct?
correct.
Sounds like a job for an LLM to me, to go try and understand that code and see what we can do.
Well,
Good exercise for an LLM.
another possibility, I have no idea how, important this is, but another possibility would be to teach the front end uh that when it gets a tag box with short, that row boxes inside of it that are skeleton like should be drawn differently than it customarily would.
That wouldn't be terrible either. I mean, we're
I
not going.
mean,
They're
I
not
mean,
going to be
it's
fake skeletons.
it's like saying, well, it ought to be a template box, but it's not. So we're just going to hard code a template right into the C++ code. It's not what I would prefer to do, but it would be possible.
Let's look at that. Let's understand what we would like to design this to do, and then, let's get some sort
Okay,
of
well,
UX like design.
okay, well, I mean, all right. So thus far, you've said you want that number smaller. You want
I mean, what we
the
want.
skeleton. Stephen, let me finish a sentence, please. You want, you want the skeletons drawn differently, but you've given me no indication what,
Right. What I
how.
suggest
So,
is that we have dot dot dots and the 977. I think we've done this in a few places in uh for a few. Where have we done this? We've got something. Maybe it's in the too big indicator or something.
I think so, where
right.
it's
Yeah. So that works by doing all the short stuff first and then rewriting the boxes afterwards.
Yeah, like that.
Yes.
That would be a fine thing to
Exactly
have.
that.
Be fine. Be just fine. Well, have a think about whether that could be done.
Okay.
Let's open this question. Okay. All right.
and this is where we shout Bob's name.
Hi.
This in the prototype build. Should I try it in the prototype build? This is really nice. I mean, to have a monitor that is a sort of default action monitor. That's a highly desirable thing. We really need this. Yeah, I mean, that design isn't perfect. We need to get that design.
What do you mean that design isn't perfect? This is
Just the graphic design of the box.
I mean, this is exactly the progress panel that we've been using that you very carefully. I mean, I guess maybe like there's a button
No,
that's
this detailed stuff up at the top here. It's not a big deal.
okay.
Okay. I'm talking about it isn't quite right. I mean, how that short stuff works and so on, it's not quite right. But the
Okay, well,
general
that's
idea
not.
is just fine.
I wouldn't call that graphic design, but
Okay. I love it. I mean, by the way, Can I ask another question? In talking of if I have a bunch of echoes in an expression, could we have, I was just thinking about this, could we have something where there's a big expression that has a bunch of echoes inside it, and then is it conceivable to have something called like echo cleanup or something, so that the echoes that come out that go brrr all through, make a giant mess in my notebook, when the expression evaluation is finished, they all get cleaned up?
Yes, and there's a ticket for it.
Well, yeah, we've talked about this. I mean, I have, I suppose if you have I suppose if you have, I mean, I have some, what's the word?
Misgivings?
Well, some, uh, safek. How do you say that in English? I guess doubts,
What
maybe.
language is that?
Reservations.
I was speaking in Hebrew, my first
Okay.
language,
Okay.
which every now
Yeah.
and then, I
There
lose.
may be words that are sayable in Hebrew that aren't sayable in any other language. I
Yes.
understand.
About how useful it is. I suppose in the case where, it's a very long running evaluation and you only care about the first three echoes, it's fine. But if, right, if the evaluation takes 5 seconds and there are like 15 echoes generated, you're not going to have time to read them before they disappear. So,
That's life.
okay.
That's okay. That's what you're signing up for. And you don't really care to read them. If it, you want to read them if the thing is grinding.
Right.
Okay.
I
So
mean, it's like the print temporary, right?
yes,
Yeah.
it's like print temporary, but it just
Did we
but this is a wrapper. That's the point. This is something you can put around because you put echoes into an expression, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see these, echoes spraying all over my screen. Put an echo cleanup at the end.
Right. I mean, all the echoes should be grouped together, so you could just click on that cell and hit delete. But
It's
yeah.
more difficult than you think when I mean, I've been involved. I've done this many times, right?
Okay.
When the thing scrolls, is multiple screens long. You don't even know where the thing. Are they all grouped? I'm not sure that they are grouped. Are they grouped?
I'm pretty sure they are.
I don't think
But
they're grouped with just themselves necessarily.
Right,
Oh,
grouped with the output.
even if they are
Yeah.
grouped, they could be interleaved by
well, they might be
messages,
grouped. Oh,
prints.
you're right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows what your code does?
And speaking of which, are there other kinds of cleanups that people would want to do? Do you want a print cleanup? Do you want a message cleanup?
Possibly a message cleanup. I mean,
Should this all just fold into monitor? Should that be the wrapper?
no, it has nothing to do with monitor. I mean, it's a cleanup, really. I mean, we've got this function now with cleanup, which is an evaluation related cleanup.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the name should be, but the functionality, I think, should be, I mean, the echo cleanup is the most obvious one, but message cleanup is another one that you might want.
I think this is a little bit of a tangent, but I wonder if this is related to, right, this evaluation metadata that we talked about at some point, like,
A little bit,
right,
yeah.
yeah, that you'd want to know, right, this is something we want to know, okay, I'm an evaluation that started in this input cell, and so let me go and find all of the non-output cells that are grouped into me and delete them, or below me or something. I know. I guess I would need to talk to John to think this through, but this seems related. Or am I just wrong, John?
No.
No, there's potential there.
Okay, let's just start.
So I looked at the ticket to remind myself what the design was, and it was, rather than having an echo cleanup function, it was just extending quiet echo, which we already have.
I see. but I don't think that makes sense. I mean, because you want the echoes.
Yeah,
Quiet echo.
it was a max echoes option, so you'd say
Yeah,
how
I
many
think
you
it's a
want,
mess.
and yeah.
I mean, we could say cleanup echo instead of quiet echo, because quiet echo just switches them all off. But
Right.
cleanup echo,
Well, it lets you specify how many you want.
Right, but it wasn't the idea then that you see like was the quiet echo like it stops echoing after a while, or
Right.
that it
yes.
shows the 10 most right? Well, then that's
These were
quite
two
different.
separate. Yeah. So one is to cut off after so many, and one is to keep this many of the most recent ones.
Okay.
Right. Okay. But
Those are
that's
two
yet
different
different from
knobs.
just put them all out there and then just clean up at the end.
Is there the possibility that we want to do something else other than deleting them, like collecting them, sending them to somewhere else?
Yes, that relates to the whole logging business, which I'm not going to have time to seriously talk about here, but we need to cover more seriously. I mean, this basically, it's, with logging or something, and then what I'd like to see. Okay, so first point, overall goal, any operation that takes more than a couple of seconds, when you press Shift Enter and you see the thing that says, evaluating and so on, any operation that takes more than a couple of seconds, I would really like it to bring up a blue progress monitor of some kind, saying something about what it's doing. Am I making sense?
Mhm.
And which is not what we've done in the past, right? It's a new thing in the last few years that we've had the ability. Let's say you're doing a difficult integer factoring problem. Okay, I think we should have it so that it just says, solving a difficult integer factoring problem, rather than just being completely mute and showing you nothing until it's finished. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
And so the idea would be
I'm
to
not
instrument.
sure.
Yes.
I mean, other than the fact that it's bigger, I don't know how that's different from just showing you that the cell is evaluating.
Because it tells you what it's doing. It tells you what it's doing. It's trying to factor an integer, as opposed to it's trying to, solve an equation or something.
But if it's trying to factor an integer, it's because you called factor integer, right?
No, but you don't know that. Now, you don't know which part of your code. You've got a big blob of code on the screen. Something is going slowly. What is it? I don't know.
Okay.
Right? That's the thing. Now, there may be a way that we could do some of this somewhat automatically from the stack. And that would be very nice if we could just, just bring that up. If the thing is taking a long time and we can see what's at the top of the stack, we just show that in a blue progress monitor, just saying evaluating factor integer or something. And that's all we're doing. I mean, that would be the best thing, because then we don't have to instrument a lot of internal code. In a perfect world, we would instrument a bunch of internal code and we would say, searching for roots, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why does that remind me of like a pig with truffles or something, searching for roots? But anyway, the you get what I'm saying? So the idea would be, I mean, that would be, I would love to investigate whether we could simply have it be the case that after 2 seconds, the thing starts every so often, kind of, every then maybe a couple of times, every couple of times a second, 3 times a second, let's say, it figures out what's at the top of the stack, and it says evaluating, and then whatever's at the top of the stack. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, even if it's just the head,
Yeah, even if it's just the head, even if there's nothing else, no other information other than the head, I think that will be sufficient. It will be very revealing and useful. And it's like, yes, this is really doing something, or oh my God, it got stuck doing this thing that I didn't think was going to take any time. So that will be the best sort of minimal thing to do. Then having a hook so that we can put more functions into,
Well, a lot of the time, what will be at the top of the stack is some internal function.
well, then we get rid of that. We go down the stack until we get to something that isn't an internal function. Right?
Right.
Okay, the other part of it is logging, where which is, I think, a quite different discussion, which is just being able to throw, to have a logging. I gotta go. Have something which sends off logging, send logging or something, and then picking up logging and putting it in the various persistence locations. Making sense?
Well, we can have that discussion some other time.
Yes. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Talk to you all soon. Thanks, guys.